There's something magical about a clean slate. It's easy to think, be, and stay positive when everything and everyone around us is a positive influence. Now, the trouble comes, of course, when we start to have these negative influences, influences that aren't so positive, influences that perhaps tear down more than they build up, or the influences that complain more than they praise. What's worse is when all of these influences are negative surrounding us. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. We're going to talk about how to stay positive even when dealing with negative influences. Along the way, we'll talk about the 20 ways that negativity can manifest itself. And we'll talk about how we tend to become the sum total of the people that we surround ourselves with. And lastly, we'll talk about the importance of choosing fascination rather than frustration. Because when we do, we'll create a clean slate that we can use in order to think, be, and stay positive to create positive experiences for ourselves. Let's get started. Well, hello and welcome to Positivity Now, the show that focuses on all things positive. I am your host, Jonas Cain, and we just concluded an 8-part series on thinking, being, and staying positive. However, in order to really apply and get the most value out of that information, we have this 2-part series we're doing now on how to stay positive while dealing with negative influences. And to understand how to do this, it's important to understand what kind of negativity we're talking about. So I'm going to go through a list of different ways that negativity can express itself. I encourage you, get a piece of paper, get a pen or a pencil. If you're a fast typer, get out your computer, word processor. If you're a good texter, take out your iPhone or tablet, take out your note-taking app. You're going to want to list all of these down because you're going to have a homework assignment in a moment. Now, in my research, I've identified 20 different ways that negativity can express itself, whether in ourselves or through others. And as I was going through this list and putting it all together, I made a profound discovery. I am a negative person. I had no idea. It just seemed every other item on this list I was guilty of. Now, I'm sure none of you at home are going to be as bad as me. Maybe you'll have 1 or 2 things that you'll need to work on, and maybe 1 or 2 things that people you know could work on. But the good news is, even if everything on this list is something that you need to work on, the good news is that we are all empowered to grow and improve. The first step is awareness, which is what we're doing here. We're creating awareness. So I'm going to go through this list and just write each one down, and especially take note of the ones that resonate with you. Number 1, this is the arrogant. Number 1, the arrogant. These people have a false sense of confidence that masks their own insecurities. Number 2, the blamer. The blamer for everything that doesn't work out well, it's someone else's fault. The blamer. Number 3, the complainer. Nothing is ever good enough for these people. They just complain. Number 4, the controller. It's their way or the highway, and if you don't like it, then get out of their way. Number 5, the critic. By putting the focus on someone else's flaws or everyone else's flaws, they can hide their own. The critic. Number 6 is the gossiper. These folks feel better about themselves by feeding off the mistakes and misfortunes of others, whether real or imagined. Gossip doesn't need to be based in reality in order to make gossipers feel better about themselves. Number 7, the jealous. They take no joy in the success of others and often feel like they themselves are more deserving. Number 8, the judge. These people make no effort to understand the true intentions of others, and they are quick to judge. That's a common one in our culture today. Number 9, the liar. These people have no qualms about being deceitful so long as it makes them look good or get out of trouble. Number 10 is the naysayer. Whenever they find a window of opportunity, they close it. The naysayer. I have some friends like this. Number 11, the plagiarizer. For everything that works out well, they take credit for it. So everything works out well, they're going to take credit. Number 12 is the projectionist. These people project their own thoughts, feelings, and emotions on others. Now, I know I'm guilty of this one, and I think largely many of us are, but maybe then again, I'm projecting myself onto everyone else. Number 13, the self-absorbed. These people are painfully unaware of the needs and feelings of others. They maintain a detachment emotionally from others. Number 14, the sensitive. These people are impossible to encourage because every word is perceived as a personal attack on themselves. Number 15, the spotlighter. These people crave to be at the center of attention and always find a way to make everything about themselves. Now, as a performer, I'm very aware of this one because performers, by definition, are in the spotlight. Number 16, the temperamental. These people lack control of their emotions. Number 17 is the twisted. Now, these folks really are twisted. They take joy in the misery of others. Those are the twisted. Number 18, the user. These people will treat you like a friend, but they have a hidden agenda. I've had a lot of so-called friends who are users. Number 19, the victim. Life is out to get them, and they want others to feel sorry for them. Now, I know for a long time I was a victim. It was all a mental gap. It's all a mental gap. Number 20, and the last one, the worrier. Not the warrior, the worrier. The worrier. If something can go wrong, whether real or imagined, then they obsess over it until the threat is removed. The question here, we've just listed 20 different ways that negativity can creep into our lives. The question is, which ones have you personally experienced yourself? Whether you expressed it, or perhaps someone within your sphere of influence exhibits these types of negativity on an ongoing basis. Now, the first step to combating negativity in any form is just creating awareness of it. There's an ancient proverb that says, a mirror reflects a person's face, but what they're really like is revealed by the friends they choose. We tend to become the sum total of the people we most spend our times with. In other words, if we spend all of our time with drinkers and smokers, we'll become drinkers and smokers. If we spend time with people who eat healthy and work out, well, we will tend to eat healthy and work out as well. And if we spend time with negative people, well, it won't take very long for ourselves to become negative as well. So the question becomes, what kind of influence are the people around you having in your life? Now, these people, we're choosing to hang out with them. Are they people who are having a positive influence that builds us up, or do they have a negative influence that tears us down? There's a simple chart that outlines how this process works, about how other people influence us and how we influence others. This is something, it has many names. We could just simply call it the cycle of influence. But it starts at any point along this cycle. We have my attitude. So my attitude will affect my behavior. If I have a good attitude, I will have good behavior. If I have a bad attitude, well, I'll have bad behavior. Now, my behavior then in turn will affect someone else's attitude. And if I have a bad attitude, they're going to have a bad attitude because of my behavior. If they have a bad attitude, that's going to affect their behavior, which will in turn cycle back to me. So it has this cyclical effect. And a simple way to see this in action is, let's say you're on your way to work and someone cuts you off. It happens every day. And admittedly, it's something worth being upset about, because driving dangerously could seriously injure people. So it's something that we of course should be upset about, so to try and stop. But when we're driving, there's nothing we can do about it. So we have that simple choice: do we let it fester, or do we just let it go and leave it on the road? Now let's say you choose to let this negativity fester. So you've just transferred their negativity onto yourself by a choice. You let it affect you. Now you get to the office. Let's say you get to work and a coworker approaches you with some issue, and instead of trying to help solve the issue, you complain about it. Perhaps you blame them. You shoot the messenger, so to speak, and now that person walks away angry and upset. You've just transferred your negativity onto someone else. Now that person is so upset, they go into their office, they slam the door so hard that a picture in your office falls off the wall, shattering to pieces, cycling back this circle of negativity. We have an opportunity when we face these choice points. Do we choose to let these situations get the best of us? Or do we choose to make the best of the situation? And it comes down to a simple choice. Do we choose to get frustrated and give up? Or do we choose to get fascinated and build ourselves up? It's a very simple choice. One is one that wants a better outcome, but does nothing about it. Instead, it just lets it festers and get upset, while the other wants a better outcome and it gets curious. It asks questions. One of my favorite mantras, and I use this every day, it says that just because I'm upset, that doesn't mean the people around me have to be upset as well. By choosing fascination over frustration, we have this natural curiosity that allows us to ask questions, to become a detective, to not be a mind reader, because that never works. Even for magicians, we're not really, it's best to find out what is really going on in other people's lives to get to the bottom of things. Even the ancient Greek philosopher, Socrates, he once said that the unexamined life is not worth living. In other words, in order to stay positive, we have to stay fascinated. Well, that's it for today's episode. We hope you've enjoyed it. As always, if you have any questions or comments, you can visit us at positivitymagic.com, and be sure to tune in to the second part of this series, where we'll continue this discussion on thinking, being, and staying positive while dealing with negative influences. Along the way, we're going to talk about the difference between being nice and being kind. So tune in. Until then, my name is Jonas Cain. Stay positive and fascinated.